Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, happy Tuesday morning.
Good morning to you, Bob. How are you today?
I'm good. This is wild. We were actually on early. We're doing it an hour early, and then we were a minute and a half early from that. That is, like you said, what a renegade move. Just making it work for us, right? Carving our own path.
Well, you know, that is a little bit of our brand.
Yeah.
And so we might as well find a way to leverage that whenever we can and show people why our brand matters.
Wow.
That's important.
I do. I think it's really important. I think the importance of it. Well, you know what? Before we do that, Tom, real quick, let's remind them about the networking events we have coming up. Give me that red slide. Boom. Yes. Tuesday, July 14th, join us 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, or Thursday, July 23rd, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for the Renegade Roundup networking event. That is where we bring all these renegades together, all these people carving their own unique pathway towards success together, and we stir them up in a pot. No, we actually put them in small groups or one-on-one and allow them to get to know each other. And we ask you questions so that you can build relationships. It is a marvelous event. It is one of my favorite events. It's the best networking event I ever go to every month. And believe me, I've been to many, many, many networking events. So, Tom,
how many manys? I think there's 3 there. Many.
It feels like thousands. You've been to your share of networking events. We know this because we would run into each other years ago at networking events and be like, hey, we got to get coffee. We haven't seen each other in a month or two.
I know. And look what that led to.
That's right. So were it not for those many networking events, we wouldn't be here today. So, Tom, as we sit here today, we're talking about why branding matters. If you remember yesterday, we talked about what branding is. It's the active creation of a picture of your company, an image for your company. And the key word I think we worked on yesterday or thought about yesterday was the whole idea of being actively creating something, working to get people to see things a certain way. You brought up earlier our brand of being renegades. We've worked consistently. We have a book, The Renegade Way. We have a website that's the Renegade Success Network. We have this group. We have the Ring of Renegades. We have you see it on the slide right now, today's Antidote, where real renegades take action. We have been consistent with that brand. And the reason that matters, in my estimation, is then people start to recognize you a certain way. The best thing I hear from people all the time is, I love that you've given me a name. I'm like, what do you mean giving you a name? I feel like I'm a renegade. Like, it's awesome. That's why it matters. When people can identify as renegades, when they can see other people and go, oh, you're in this group, you're a renegade too. It's a shorthand. There's a whole lot of meaning behind that, right? I mean, I wrote a whole book about the Renegade Way. It took a while. It took 120 pages to explain it. That's what that brand really is. And it matters in the sense that if people understand it, if they take the time to figure out what this renegade movement that we're trying to build is, and if they fit into it, now they feel part of a community. What are your thoughts, Tom?
No, absolutely. And I think the other beautiful thing about it is why it matters is everyone sort of gets to define it as what's real for them, right? I mean, we have gone out and said, this is what we see it as. We identified a renegade as someone who wanted to break out of the status quo, who didn't want to be a part of the echo chamber of all the constant noise, and that was something that was happening at the start of the pandemic. We wanted people to feel like they were empowered to move forward whatever moving forward meant for them. And I feel like each person has been able to identify with, well, what about that matters to them? Why is that important? And it's like anything else, any other organization wants to say, this is who I am, or we are. And then in turn, everyone else gets to determine what part of that do they want to be a part of. And I think that's sort of the beauty of branding, is that you set out, this is who you believe you are. And at the same time, others get to say, well, I like this part of it. I like that piece of it. I think as much as you made fun of me about saying it, and I probably haven't said it in a while, is, I always mention that one of the reasons we chose Renegade was because we weren't reckless. We weren't, right? That wasn't who we were trying to be.
It's been a good 2 months.
At least. It's been a while since I've said that you were not.
Wow.
But I think that's one of the important things, is that people attach to that, is that, yeah, I want to do my own thing, but I don't want to do it at the, potential injury to someone else. Or I'm not doing it against convention. I'm doing it because that's who I am and that's what I want to do. And so I think that's the piece of it that makes it really valuable, is we all get to determine what it is. I sort of quasi-intentionally wore my Hamilton shirt, show it up, my alma mater, and it's the same way. So they have a brand, and there's many pieces to the brand. You can go by the nickname, you can go by their little saying, you can go by their motto, their logo, you can go out, what is the focus today? And I get to choose. When I say, why is that important to me? It's because of this. And then I can go forward and say, you know what? I'm proud to be part of this brand because this is what it means. And I think those are the kind of important things as you think about for yourself and your organization. What is your brand? And how then do people take that and apply it to how they view you or your organization or your team? And that's why it matters. Because if they don't relate to it, they are not going to take advantage of your products or services. Or your team is not going to, if you come up with a slogan for your team and people don't buy into it, it's not going to be very helpful to moving forward. And I think,
I'm sorry. I was going to say, if we called ourselves the corporate rejects, we probably wouldn't be here right now.
Well, we do have a different following.
To the percentage of this group, and you know who you are, I'm talking to you because I'm there too. Corporate rejects would be a perfectly good descriptor. But that wasn't what we settled on, because we wanted to create a word, an image, a feel of something that would bring people something deeper.
Sure.
We wanted to help people define things in a positive way, and corporate rejects wouldn't have been a positive way. And when we came up with the Renegade idea, it took us a while. Remember, we had a dictionary out and we were looking at words and,
Sure.
and going there. I still can remember some of the words that we rejected, but we were actively pursuing that. And it mattered to us to get a word, an image, something that people could grab hold of. And when we test it, remember, we tested it on some people. What do you think about this? What do you? Oh, wow. Oh, that's exactly it. That's what we built off of. And it matters because getting that synergy between what we wanted to convey and what people wanted to hear, that's where the why it matters comes together. If you think, we're the corporate rejects, but no one wants to be called the corporate rejects, and people certainly don't want to go, hey, do you want to come to my corporate rejects networking event? It would be really great. Probably not going to go.
Maybe for some people that would be attractive.
For some, right. It wouldn't be to me.
Correct. And I think that is the opportunity that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to look very further than Facebook to find all the different brands that you could potentially choose to be a part of. And I think in some regards, that's the beauty of it, is people get a chance to identify how they want to identify. And then others can determine whether or not that is a group or a brand that they want to be a part of. I think you see this all the time in the corporate world is, think about Nike. Talk about one of the biggest brands ever. Just Do It resonated with people who wanted to be active. They were like, yeah, I just go out and do it. Don't worry about it. Just make it happen. And I think the more you look at different brands, we talked about Chevrolet yesterday, that it was hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet. And I think that was the way they wanted to be seen. And those were the people they felt like they wanted to attract or would be attracted to that message. And I think that's a big piece of this is how do you identify those people that you want to relate to? Because like you said, this group could have been corporate rejects. It could have been like everybody who has lost a job, people who are trying to, whatever it could be. And some people would resonate with that and use that as almost as a driving force to say, I don't care about the corporate world. I'm okay being rejected by a world that I didn't fit into and I don't any longer want to be a part of. Some people could use that as almost a badge of honor, and people would be like, yeah, I could rally around that. I hated that lifestyle. And so now so that is an opportunity for each of us to determine what is it about this brand that draws us to it and makes us more interested and intrigued by what it might provide.
So, Tom, we're at that point. What's that one thing for you today?
I think it's a little bit about I think there's two things to why it matters. One, I think it helps you identify who you are. And there was no doubt that when I started talking through with a coach of mine about my life and the way I had sort of lived it, that Renegades fit with who and what I was. And so it really sort of identified what I couldn't quite put my hand on for so many years. And again, why it matters is because that allowed me to be attracted to other people like that. By putting that out there, I could find others who had similar feelings about that word or about the way that their businesses or the way that they work or the way they're personally driven. And so it allowed me to get connected to others that I felt compelled or interested in understanding their story and figuring out why that word matters to them, why that brand matters to them. And I think to me, that's the value of it is you get to portray who you are or who your company is or who your team is. And it allows others to then identify who you are and whether or not they want to be a part of that brand.
We're all called to do something. Every one of us. The calling comes in different ways, but we're all called to do something. I think why branding matters is because it aligns that calling with what we really intend to do, and it puts words to it. And then, like you said, it attracts other people. So yes, the corporate rejects could be a name that we could use. I think you could probably go out and find a group of people that would be attracted by that.
I know a few already who would love the thought of they would want that just in spite of all those people who think the corporate world is the only way to go.
Yes. If the corporate reject group formed, I would probably join it today. Maybe we'll have a splinter group, Tom.
Well, that would be an interesting thing for people to do is to go through, since we're mostly on Facebook, go through your Facebook groups and see what are the brands that if you've joined a group, there was a brand that was associated with that. And it might be a way for you to look and identify like, what is it that attracts you to those as you start to think about what does your brand look like? And I think
that's a great idea.
And I think that's, maybe a step that people might want to take is go take a look at the groups that you're a part of. And what does that mean about your brand? And now that you understand that, how can you then portray it to the rest of the world so people understand who you are, that you might then attract them to you and what you're trying to accomplish?
I like that. Two from Tom and none from me. It's a wild day, but I love that suggestion. So I'm going to go with that. So Tom, why don't we wrap this puppy up?
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for being a part of our show today. If you have thoughts about why branding matters, please feel free to put it in the comments, or you can go to the Ring of Renegades Facebook group and share it there. and see if you can start a conversation about why branding matters. If you're not yet a member of the Ring of Renegades, it's easy to do. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades. And then if that brand is interest to you, please join our group. It's easy to do. It is a private group, so you have to ask to join. And then you just have to tell us one thing. Tell us why you're a renegade and why that name resonates with you. And then you can become a part of our growing community of people trying to find their next step along their own unique pathway to success. If you're struggling with that and you're not really sure how to do it, I'm going to share in a minute some information about the Renegade Success Network. And one piece of that is our Finding Your Renegade Way in 90 days that you might want to take a look at, because that might be the way to help you identify what your brand is and how you can leverage that by putting it out into the world so that you can attract people, customers, clients, team members to you. So I hope that you have a great rest of your day. We will see you inside the Ring of Renegades, or we'll see you tomorrow morning back at our regular time, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. Here's some further information about the Renegade Success Network. Have a great day, everyone. Are you struggling to make your vision a reality? Are you stuck and don't know what to do next? Are fear and doubt holding you back? The Renegade Success Network will help you determine the next steps on your pathway. Here is some of what you will get. Create your pathway call to start you on a better path. Unlimited laser solution sessions to keep you from getting stuck. Nurture your network events to build your network with other successful leaders. Monthly Renegade challenges to prepare you for what lies ahead. The Renegade Success Vault, giving you access to videos, tools, and tips on specific topics anytime you need them. And the Renegade Success Network community, an exclusive Facebook group of like-minded renegades, all working towards achieving their goals. You have a choice. Do it yourself and fumble forward slowly and alone. Or join the Renegade Success Network and be part of a community built to help you find your own pathway. Join today at renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Act now and jumpstart your journey on your own pathway to success.